Good morning everyone. I'm here at Hunstanton beach. The weather's lovely, the wind's really calm. Gonna head into the water, do a bit of snorkeling and see what I can see on the sandy shore. I'm Ben and welcome to Naturescope. Hello, just a quick update about this video. As you can see, I look a bit different and it's definitely not summer on the Norfolk coastline right now. Essentially a couple of years ago, I found myself on holiday in Norfolk and the opportunity to do some snorkeling came up, so I decided to jump in with some old equipment. Fortunately, the footage isn't the best, but there's some really interesting critters in it, so I thought I would make a video of it now, so I hope you enjoy it. Hunstanton is a seaside town in North Norfolk. It is a popular holiday destination, sharing amenities with other British seaside towns. These include fish and chip restaurants, arcades and amusements. It also has a lovely sandy beach with localised beach defences adjacent to the town itself. Man-made groins stretch out into the tide, reducing the movement of sand and the impact of the waves on the concrete promenade. One day, while strolling along the promenade at high tide, I peered over into the water and to my surprise, huge baitfish shoals of sand smelt were staring back at me. A period of low winds and warm weather had brought about good visibility, and with the shoals of baitfish close to the shore, I decided I could not miss out on an opportunity like this. I had to jump on in. Even though the rocky shore is the first choice for any snorkeler or a diver, the sandy shore holds so much potential. I'm here in Norfolk on the east coast at the Hunstanton beach, and I'm on a beautiful sandy shore filled with wildlife, ranging all the way down to your shellfish and lugworms that live in the sand and act as great food sources for animals, ranging up to big hunters like your sea bass and flatfish that will prowl these sand flats at high tide. I'm going to be heading in to see what we can find. The weather is lovely and the wind is really calm, which means that the viz, even though we're on a sandy shore, should be brilliant. So hopefully I can get out there and find some cool animals for the camera. Wish me luck, and I'm going in.
Throughout this video, you'll see many of these casts in the sand. These belong to lugworms. The huge baitfish shoals I saw from outside the water on the promenade were these fish here, sand smelt, a member of the silverside family. These fish are not often seen alone. This individual is likely injured, probably by predatory fish or rough weather conditions, resulting in them not being able to keep up with the larger shoals. They have a bluey-green coloration on the top of their body and a light silver flank and underside. This is known as countershading and is a common camouflage method in fish, as it makes them difficult to see from the top down and from the bottom up. These fish are planktivores, and these particular shoals have likely been brought close to shore by the planktonic bloom that is giving the water that I was swimming in that slightly greenish tint. They are plentiful along the British coastline and form large bait shoals as a form of protection from predators. They also play a very vital role in transferring nutrients from plankton to predatory and scavenging species. On these sand flats, there are many predators that will feed on them, ranging from fish like sea bass and larger flatfish to seabirds like cormorants and gulls. This individual was not so lucky, succumbing to its wounds and being caught by an opportunistic shore crab. Speaking of shore crabs, these are commonly seen scuttling over the sand flats at high tide and seeking shelter under or around rocks or beach defences as the tide shifts and the water begins to recede. Shore crabs are our most common crab species in the UK. They are a hardy crab, being able to survive in many different habitats. They are able to migrate up rivers for short periods of time and are even able to survive outside of water as long as they can maintain some moisture over their internal gills. Each crab has a larger crushing claw designed for crushing food items like snail shells, and a smaller but sharper cutting claw for breaking their prey down in order to consume it. If a crab is not able to find shelter before the tide goes out, or encounters a large predator while out on the sand, they may exhibit this behaviour, digging into the sand. The crab will dig down into the moist layers of sand and is able to stay here until the tide returns or the potential threat has passed. The most exciting find of the trip was this lesser pipefish. I spooked it out of some seaweed while snorkeling alongside a groin. Pipefish are signififorms, meaning that they are closely related to seahorses. In morphology, they seem very similar to a flattened out seahorse. And just like with their seahorse cousins, pipefish females will lay their eggs into a pouch on the male's body. He will then carry the eggs and hatch them. Pipefish have small mouths and their primary food source is macroinvertebrates. This includes small items of prey like shrimps and worms suspended in the water column. Although this individual is swimming over the sand flats, this is not a common behaviour, and they spend most of their time in and around structures where they can wrap their tails around strands of seaweed or rope. Another fish species I came across while snorkeling was this small flatfish. The only reason I spotted it was because I disturbed it while swimming across the sand flats. As you can see, they are almost perfectly camouflaged amongst the sand grains. This makes them the perfect ambush predator. And although this one isn't very intimidating, some species of flatfish found around the UK can grow upwards of 40 centimetres, meaning they can tackle larger items of prey. I'm not sure what species this was, and to identify it I would have needed to capture it and had a closer look. Although it's likely that this is either a plaice, a dab, or a flounder. As mentioned before, these flatfish are predatory, so they spend most of their time on the sand, hunting items such as small invertebrates. These include worms, shrimps, shellfish, and even crustaceans, and small fish when the opportunity arises. One of the crustaceans I was able to find and film was this hermit crab. Hermit crabs are not true crabs, being more closely related to lobsters. They have a soft abdomen curled up inside their shell, which allows them to breed whenever they want without having to molt like most other crustaceans. However, because of this, they have to constantly replace their shell as they grow to fit the size of their body. It is not just sand smelt that were brought inshore by the plankton bloom. These jellyfish also followed the bloom inshore, using their stinging tentacles to feed on microscopic plants and animals in the soup-like water. This is a moon jellyfish. They are found across most of the world's oceans, and although they have stingers, they are planktivorous and are unable to sting through human skin. This one, however, is a compass jellyfish, and unlike the moon jellyfish, they are able to give humans a nasty sting. These jellyfish feed on small fish, crabs, and even other jellyfish. These small camouflage fish are sand gobies. They are one of the smaller gobies in UK waters and are most commonly found on sandy shores. They are abundant here and use similar sandy mottled camouflage to the flatfish we saw earlier. I also managed to get a brief peek at this larger goby, most likely a common goby, on top of a mussel bed. This species of flattened shrimp is often called the brown shrimp. It is a species of Caridian shrimp found mostly on sandy shorelines. They live almost entirely on the seafloor and spend their time sifting through sand for any organic material that they can consume. These small pelagic shrimps are mysids. I would need to look at one under a microscope to identify it, but these small shrimps are a key food source to many animals, including sand gobies, flatfish, and even pipefish. These shrimps can be seen grouping together around the structure of this groin, perhaps a location where the currents are carrying planktonic food, or perhaps shelter from predators that may be hunting them. These sandy shores are clearly rich in nutrients and resources, as any surface or structure, such as these beach defences, is encrusted in a thick layer of mussels and barnacles that are filtering nutrition out of the water currents. These form a habitat in of themselves for animals to live amongst. These common periwinkles are an abundant sea snail species found across the British coastline. They are a slow-moving gastropod that feeds on the organic biofilm that coats most of the seabed and any structure. They use a series of modified teeth called a radula to scrape the biofilm away from the seafloor.
What a fantastic snorkel. I really enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Really got to showcase some of the fantastic species we have on our sandy shores. Not all of them by any means. There's plenty more species that I didn't even see. But I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for regular notifications. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.